Hello.
Hello.
Hello. We have all of the video is off. You're gonna can you turn on the video and get that going?
Laura, all the participants can make their video go on and off. That's the,
It won't let me because it says the host has stopped video, so everyone needs to so we need the video to be on for them.
where's the button for that?
Let's see.
I,
Okay, now so you asked me to start my video. Okay, here we go. Now they're starting to come in.
okay.
Yeah, so we'll need, and then they'll just turn off theirs on and it. So if you leave the settings so that they're just on, and then they'll be able to turn it on and off as they go.
Yeah, I don't know where that setting is, but
I wonder, did it just default to that?
yeah. And then
Huh.
I clicked allow participants to start their own video,
Okay.
rename themselves, and to unmute themselves. And then I just deleted the ability for them to start their own. Let's see if that does anything.
Okay. Yeah, because it's hard for me to walk through it because I don't have those controls on mine because I'm not the host. I can grab Kyle in a second if it doesn't work. Anyone else who's in here, if you could start your video, I see Dustin here. If anyone else could start their video to make sure that's working, that would be great. And then I am sending you a private message too. I just wanted you to be aware of something that came up yesterday. That's for you.
Yes, yeah, that's,
Okay,
I'm
perfect.
very, yeah, I think this is the 100th competition I've judged. So
Yeah, I think most are familiar with that, but I just wanted to
no, I
be
appreciate that.
absolutely sure.
Yeah, this is about them, not about us.
Yeah. It's a whole new world on video though. I gotta tell you, it's been different. Okay, nobody else has appeared. They might just be out of the room though too. They might just be signing in and then
Yeah, I have a
coming back up.
principal trying to connect to the audio. And then how do they publish the, how do they publish the exhibits?
They know how to do it, so they will just share
Okay.
their screen.
And I don't have any control over that. I don't have to do anything.
Right. Okay. It's saying they're saying we can't unmute in here. So let me grab Kyle quick. Hold on. I'll be back. Hey Kyle. Courtroom 5. We're having trouble getting them unmuted.
Try it now. Dustin, can you try to unmute?
Yep, it's letting
Okay.
me know.
Good.
With regards to the exhibits, usually we share the screen and there might be a button in the settings that requires, share screen for all participants.
Do you know where that might be?
See, all we need is the students to get us through all our tech problems.
I know but you know what? If I ask them to type out on a typewriter with carbon paper without mistakes a full brief, I have that skill set, but it's irrelevant. It's old school.
I know. I went to journalism school and we had the old IBMs and it's like it was great. There's something about the rhythm of the IBM
Oh, I
that's just
agree.
different.
Hi, good morning, Melanie.
Good morning.
Yeah, I
Okay.
still have Elizabeth is not, and Erica. I'm gonna
I'll
ask.
go make Erica
Hi,
and
I'm here.
Kenzie put on their
Hi,
camera.
okay, good to see you. We're just doing tech technical checks. And we are
Right.
on live stream, so I can turn that off, I guess, at this point.
Turn on what? I'm sorry.
Live stream is on.
Yeah, that's fine. Leave that on, and then you're set, and then you don't have to worry about it. And I am going to go to the other rooms and just check on them. Whenever everyone is in your room, you're free to get started.
Okay.
Whenever
Bye.
they're all available. All right, I will see you on YouTube in a bit.
Oh, great.
That's okay. It's really about performance.
Yeah.
Share screen. I have, who can share? All participants. Who can start sharing when someone else is sharing?
You don't want that one because then people can click share and it'll override them.
Okay, got it. We have got it, Dustin.
That is Kyle. You're good with the share setup and everything?
It appears that the students are very proficient in that, and I don't have to worry about it.
That's what we like to hear. Perfect. I will leave you to it. Thanks, guys.
All right, we'll see how it goes.
Okay, good luck.
We are still having one of our lawyers having some issues connecting to the Zoom. There's someone helping her right now.
Okay, great. Did y'all have fun yesterday? Más o menos? Okay. We have 15 participants. Melanie, are you here? Melanie Jordan?
I am.
Okay, great. Elizabeth Field? Yeah?
It won't let me
Okay,
turn it
great.
on.
And Louisa Young?
Saying that the host has stopped it.
Okay.
Thank you for coming and checking them.
Okay, so with regards to Kenzie, I went over, she's trying to turn on her video, but it says that the host just stopped it. Not disabled, stopped. It's a new one for me.
Okay, I just asked her to start it. Did you get it, Kenzie?
Yep, her camera's on.
Okay, and we've got Leah and Tiana. There's Leah. Okay, good. Two Leahs. We have 1 minute. and Christina Castaneda.
Hi, I'll be
Hi, good morning.
Perkins.
Is everybody here for the prosecution? Say yes.
Yes, sorry, I was just looking.
That's okay. Is everybody here for the defense?
Yeah, no, we're waiting for one more lawyer.
Okay.
I think on my side, that might actually be a no. I'm only seeing 3 lawyers and none of our witnesses.
I've got a Tiana Cole, a Leah, I know Leah Legger's here, and a principal. Does a principal make any? I don't know. what that-
TJ is our principal. I don't know who principal is. I think it might be the principal for the other team. I don't know.
Okay. Does anybody see any conflicts? If you see a conflict, raise your hand. Okay. We are in a conflict-free zone.
Do you mind if I just make sure screen share's working real quick?
Everybody check and make sure everything's working for a couple minutes and take a deep breath and it'll be okay, right? This is how real court is.
Mine's working.
Defense, did the other attorney show up? Or witness?
I don't think they've shown up yet. No.
If we can't wait any longer, I can just do our parts.
What's the preference of the group?
I mean, obviously, we would like to wait until our
We're
lawyers here, but if we can't,
our last lawyer just arrived and is getting set up in the classroom.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that information. We will wait.
very good.
Your Honor, in past rounds, we've been able to change our name, like attorney or your pronouns, but we can't do that in this Zoom meeting. So if you want us to do that, we can't, I guess.
Let me see if I can figure it out.
Thank you.
Participants or renaming. Let's see if that works. How does that work?
Yes, that works. Thank you.
Okay, great. Perfect. Would our scoring judges like to introduce themselves?
Sure. I'm Melanie Jordan. I am the case strategy director at the Office of Respondent Parents Council. And I worked for the Boulder County Attorney's Office for a while. I'm really happy to see all of you today.
My name is Elizabeth Field, and I am an attorney in Denver, and I do litigation at a firm called QTech Rock. And I was up at Boulder for my law degree at CU Boulder. And I love mock trial, so I wish you all the best.
Do we have any other scoring judges with us? Are we ready? Prosecution, are you ready?
The prosecution is ready.
Defense?
Our last lawyer is trying to get in right now would be Yasmin Herrera.
Okay,
She is. We're ready now.
okay, great. And Dustin, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry. It's on a podium so I can stand. Because I'm opening. I
Got
believe.
it. All right. Just to reconfirm, please say yes loudly if you see anybody that you know that you have a conflict with. Seeing none, I can certify we have no conflicts. Both sides are ready for trial. I have copies of the trial roster. You understand that you're online and this is being live streamed. All right, why don't we just start here? I'm going to ask the prosecution to introduce the team members and their witnesses.
Morning, my name is Leah Cook, and I will be performing the opening, the direct for Alex Cifuentes, and the cross for Avery Becker.
Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Yashasvi Bista, and I will be directing Detective Jordan Markowitz and crossing Taylor Perkins.
Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Stella Bishop, and I will be performing the closing statement, as well as the direct of Kyle Kuzak and the cross of Blake Van Owen.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Faith Petticord, and I am Alex Cifuentes.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Clara Baldwin, and I will be portraying Markowitz.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Sanjita Balaji, and I will be Kyle Kuzak.
Good morning.
And then good morning, Your Honor. I'll be the timekeeper for the prosecution.
Thank you for doing that job. We appreciate it. Anybody else? All right. I'm going to swear you all in now. Please go ahead and remain seated for the swearing in because we're on Zoom and it just makes it easier for everybody. So team members, please raise your right hands. Do you promise that the presentation you're about to give will faithfully and truthfully conform to the facts and rules of the mock trial competition? Yes? Okay, witnesses, do you promise that the testimony you're about to give will faithfully and truthfully conform to your witness statements, that you will not add material facts or opinions which are not contained in the case problem, and that you will follow the rules and procedures of the mock trial competition? Witnesses, yes? Thank you. Gallery members, including teachers, attorney coaches, family members, and friends, please raise your right hands. Do you promise to represent yourselves as positive role models and to behave in a manner that exemplifies ethical and professional sportsmanship during and after this mock trial competition? Yes?
Yes.
Excellent. Are there any other housekeeping matters that we need to take care of this morning before our opening statement?
The prosecution has some preliminary matters.
Yes, ma'am.
The prosecution requests that all stipulated facts are admitted into evidence, and we request that exhibits can be screen shared before being admitted.
Is that agreed with defense counsel?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. That's very professional. Defense, do you have any preliminary matters?
No, Your Honor.
No? All right. Well, let us begin with opening statement by the prosecution.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, today you will be hearing two sides of a murder case involving two members of mock trial and their coach. This murder was an act of revenge carried out by Avery Becker. You see, Avery was an unruly student who frequently butted heads with their mock trial coach and the victim, Mr. Brackman. While Alex Fuentes, Avery's friend, fully participated in mock trial, Avery was less involved and held grudges against Mr. Brackman. Avery even planned to break in and trash Mr. Brackman's home. Was there payback stabbing Mr. Brackman in the back? Avery entered through the back door expecting no one to be home, but once they realized Mr. Brackman was home, there was a struggle, which led to Mr. Brackman being killed inside his home with a knife from his own kitchen. This murder is a case of revenge. Simply put, it was payback. Throughout this case, ladies and gentlemen, you will hear testimonies from Detective Jordan Markowitz, the detective assigned to Mr. Brackman's case, detailing the crime scene and evidence from cell phone records. These cell phone records place Avery near or at Mr. Brackman's house the day of his untimely death. From Kyle Kuzak, you will hear various scenarios from the examination of the crime scene, detailing Mr. Brackman's cause of death and the means by which Avery Becker broke in and killed him. You will see the relationship between Avery and Mr. Brackman unravel through testimonies from Alex Fuentes, Avery, and Taylor Perkins. Tracing the events before Mr. Brackman's death, you will learn about a crime that Avery already committed against Mr. Brackman and delve into the relationships within mock trial. After hearing all of this evidence, it is your job as the jury to decide if the stab in the back was indeed payback. Thank you.
Thank you. Counsel for the defense.
Rage, rivalry, revenge. Rage, rivalry, revenge. Resentment, rivalry, revenge. If the motive doesn't fit, you must acquit. If the motive doesn't fit. Missing one last moot court competition versus your dad's spending the rest of his life in prison are two very different motives. Blair Rollins has disappeared. Blair Rollins had the motive, the opportunity, and the assistance to commit this murder. Where is Blair Rollins? Prosecution can't tell you. The police can't tell you. No one can tell you. Well, maybe except for Alex Fuentes. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, there are just way too many things that make us go, Too many things that leave us with reasonable doubt, too many inconsistencies, and too many mistakes made by the police. The police cannot even pinpoint with 100% accuracy cell phone towers that were used. Detective Markowitz says that he is trained in cell phone technology, yet doesn't know the key basics to an iPhone. There were no time or date stamps on the messages, no fingerprints, or no saved numbers. The police lost important forensic evidence, and the police lost important photographs. Ladies and gentlemen, the evidence will show that there were 2 people there. Yet the police never investigated the 2 different people who were there. The police never investigated Blair Rollins, who has a very clear motive. Then we have Kyle Kuzak, the crime scene investigator. Listen very carefully to his botched crime scene and mistaken analysis. He also didn't preserve key evidence nor examine alternate theories. If the victim had seen a burglar at his front door, he would have dialed 911. There was no call. Rage and rivalry. Alex wanted to be the star of the court and would be if Avery remained kicked off the team. Rage and rivalry. Their phone numbers were not even mutually shared nor saved. Revenge. Alex was friends with Blair Rollins and knew about his desire to get revenge against Mr. Brackman. Blair Rollins and his father had shouted in open court that Mackenzie was doomed. Ladies and gentlemen, who had the motive to commit this crime? An angry, vengeful teen seeking revenge for his father's life sentence to prison, or a senior worried about one last moot court competition? Rage, rivalry, revenge. Avery Becker is innocent. He didn't do this crime. The prosecution needs to find Blair Rollins. Thank you.
Thank you. Will the prosecution call the first witness?
Yes, Your Honor. The prosecution calls Detective Jordan Markowitz to the stand. Good evening, Ms. Markowitz. What is your name, and please spell your last for the jury?
Good evening. I'm Jordan Markowitz, Markowitz.
What is your occupation?
I'm a homicide detective with the Denver Police Department.
How long have you worked with the Denver Police Department?
I've worked with the DPD for 13 years and been a detective for 7 years.
What specialized training do you have?
I have specialized training with cell phone technology and forensic data recovery.
How often do you use that training?
I use it constantly. I've downloaded data of hundreds of cell phones, and I've used this data in over 50 cases.
Your Honor, based on Rule 702, in light of Detective Jordan Markowitz's experience, training, and specialized knowledge, I would like to offer Detective Jordan Markowitz as an expert in cell phone records, homicide investigations, forensic data recovery, and in crime scene analysis.
Any response? Hearing none, so be accepted as an expert in the areas outlined by counsel.
Okay, I will move on. When were you assigned to investigate the death of Mackenzie Brackman?
On March 6th of 2020.
Who found Brackman dead?
A passing motorist reported seeing a body possibly passed out at a residence of 444 South Flower Street.
Who responded to the report?
Paramedics initially responded, but when they found the victim dead, they called in officers.
When did you arrive at the scene?
At approximately 14-20 hours.
What did you observe upon arrival at the scene?
The front door was open, the victim was face down in a pool of blood, and there was a knife near the body on the floor.
Were there any photos taken of this?
Yes, there were.
You mentioned a photo taken of your observations, which is Exhibit 1. Would you recognize the photo if shown?
Yes, I would.
Your Honor, may I have permission to show Exhibit 1 to the witness by presenting?
Yes.
Ms. Markowitz, can you identify this photo?
This is the photo I took of what I saw when upon arrival. It's a photo of the victim as shown from the front porch.
Is this picture trustworthy?
Yes, it is.
Is this an accurate depiction of what you saw?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, I move to admit Exhibit 1 into evidence.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Since there's been no objection, Exhibit 1 will be admitted. Thank you.
Your Honor, may I also have permission to publish Exhibit 1 to the jury?
Yes, and for the purposes of this trial, once an exhibit is admitted, you have permission to just go right ahead and publish it to save some time. Okay?
Thank you.
Is that all right with everyone?
Yeah.
All right.
Ms. Markowitz, when looking at this picture, what do you think happened to the victim?
I believe the victim confronted the prosecutor with a knife. The prosecutor got control of the knife, and as the victim tried to move away, they were stabbed and they pulled the knife out of their own body.
Okay, that is all for this document. What did you observe when looking at the rest of the home?
Outside, I noticed a Ring doorbell, and there were cameras pointed at the back door and the gate to the backyard. When looking inside the home, I saw a drawer with knives and a knife block with a slot missing, a broken plate, and blood splattered on the floor.
Did you notice anything unusual?
The home was in slight disarray, but all expensive items such as flat screen TVs and laptops were untouched.
What conclusions did you derive from these observations?
I believe the prosecutor was attempting a break-in, but when they were confronted by the victim, they got control of the knife and stabbed them.
What did you do to investigate who the murderer could be?
I downloaded information from Brackman's phone and I gained access to his Ring accounts, which included videos from March 6th.
Did you find anything suspicious on his phone?
I found a large amount of texts and emails related to something called mock trial. I later found out that Brackman was the coach of mock trial for Colorado High School.
What did you do with the information about mock trial?
I contacted some of the students on the team and got an interview with Alex Fuentes.
What information did you learn from Alex Fuentes?
Alex Fuentes showed me texts from their phone of Becker planning a break-in into Brackman's house.
What did you do after you obtained the information about Avery Becker?
I arranged an interview with Becker, but I was informed by Becker's lawyer that they would not attend. So I got a warrant to search Becker's phone, which I later found out was lost. So finally, I obtained records from Becker's service provider.
What call records did you obtain?
I found out that on March 6th, Becker's phone was communicating with a Taylor Perkins, and their phone was turned off at about 13:20 hours.
How would the cell tower information and records work when determining where a person is?
A specific algorithm pairs a phone with a nearby cell tower in order to connect them.
What do these records show?
The ones from Becker's phone show that Becker received a text from Perkins at 12:47 p.m. and it went through a cell tower nearby Becker's house. Later, a text was received where the phone was near a tower at Rock Creek Parkway and later a tower closest to Brackman's house.
Did you make any visual diagrams of this?
Yes, I did.
You mentioned a diagram of a route you believe to be used. Would you recognize it if shown?
Yes, I would.
Your Honor, I now move to present Exhibit 16 to the witness.
You may.
Ms. Markowitz, can you identify this document?
This is the route I drew of Becker's phone on March 6th.
In your professional opinion, do you think that this route is the easiest route Becker could have taken?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, I move to admit Exhibit 16 into evidence.
Any objection?
Yes, lack of foundation.
Can you tell me more of the basis of that objection?
I didn't hear anything of the relation of this, well, not the relation, but
Your Honor, permission to respond?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Markowitz already established that after she obtained the cell tower records from Becker's phone company, she made a diagram of the route the phone traveled through on the day Brackman died, March 6, 2020. And there's obviously sufficient foundation to show this exhibit.
Any response? It'll be admitted.
Ms. Markowitz, what is this diagram depicting?
It shows the most likely route that Becker took to get from their house to Brackman's house.
Can you explain the specific details on this diagram?
You can see all of the cell towers that the phone was connected to. And using that, I was able to depict
Sorry, you cut off. Could you please repeat your answer?
I'm sorry, you froze. Could you repeat the question?
Yes. Can you explain the specific details on this exhibit?
It shows the 3 cell towers that Becker's phone was connected to, which allowed me to see Becker's location and draw the route from Becker's house to Brackman's.
In your expert opinion, what do you believe happened to the phone?
I believe it started at Becker's house and Becker then traveled to Brackman's house.
What do you think happened to the phone, as Becker claims Becker doesn't have the phone anymore?
I believe Becker's phone was turned off at about 13-20 hours and was disposed of.
Based on your evidence, what do you believe occurred on the day Brackman died, March 6, 2020?
I believe Becker took this route to get to Brackman's house with the intent to break in and vandalize his home. And when they found out Brackman was still home, Brackman confronted them with a knife after being alerted by his security system, confronted the prosecutor with a knife. The prosecutor got control of the knife and stabbed Brackman.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination, please.
Sorry. Detective Markowitz, you've been in detective for 7 years, correct? That's
Yeah,
correct.
I can't see you. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor. I thought the thing was on.
Yeah.
And during your time, you have investigated a few homicides, correct? Yes, I've investigated many homicides. And your first impression was that the murderer was an ex-client, correct? That's correct. Yet you never fully investigated that theory, did you? I've investigated to the best of my ability. Detective, you never used Blair Rollins' threats against Mr. Brackman as your investigation? No, I never investigated with Blair Rollins. You've never spoke to Blair Rollins, have you? No, they disappeared after the murder. Your first impression was that his mock trial activity had nothing to do with his murder, correct?
I did think it would be weird that his mock trial would be associated with his murder.
In this case, detective, you had captured some photographs of blood drops, right?
Yes.
However, you no longer have these photos, correct?
No, these photos were corrupted.
Okay, and at some point you talked with Alex Fuentes, correct?
I did.
And from that conversation, you learned that there were text messages between Alex and Avery Becker, correct? Can you guys hear me?
You froze.
Oh, sorry. Would you like me to repeat my question? She's frozen for me. You're on mute, Your Honor.
Oh, sorry. Ms. McLaughlin, are you there?
Yes, I'm here now. I apologize.
The internet is a strange creature. We have to be kind to each other about it. Yes, let's start with Yasmin's question and see how it goes.
And, okay, sorry. And you learned that there was text messages between Alex Fuentes and Avery Becker, correct?
Yes, I was sent screenshots of these messages.
However, you did not instruct Alex Fuentes to bring the phone to you, did you?
No, I did not.
And to this day, you have never, yourself investigated that phone. She froze again.
You're muted, Your Honor.
Claire, can you hear us?
Yes, could you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, of course. And you have never examined that phone, have you?
No.
And you thought it was odd that a teenager did not carry their phone?
Odd, but not impossible.
So the only evidence that you have from this discussion are some screenshots that were sent to you?
Yes.
Without the cell, you cannot compare the messages on the phone without screenshots, correct?
Could you repeat that, please?
Without the cell phone, you cannot compare the messages without screenshots, correct?
I used the screenshots to compare them.
Detective, you examined the cell tower data, correct?
Yes, I do.
Isn't it also correct that some providers don't keep all the information?
That is correct.
The record also identifies that cell towers with which the cell phone was communicating with, correct?
Yes, it does.
And on the day of the murder, you discovered that Taylor Perkins had called Becker's phone several times.
Yes, Taylor Perkins was in contact with Becker.
But, sorry, that wasn't really my question. It's just that Taylor Perkins had called the cell phone of Avery Becker.
Yes, Perkins did contact Avery Becker.
Sorry, my apologies. Okay. Detective, you reviewed the ring security video, correct?
Could you repeat that?
Yeah. You reviewed the ring
Objection foundation.
Response?
Foundation?
Does this witness have personal knowledge of this information?
Yeah, I mean, they were the crime scene investigator.
Overruled.
Would you like me to re-ask the question?
Yes, please.
And detective, you reviewed the ring security video, correct?
Yes, I did.
And according to you, the doorbell was never rung.
No, it wasn't.
And in the video, the assailant is fully dressed, wearing gloves and a mask.
Yes, they are.
Detective, sorry. I'm sorry. Detectives, wait, okay, I'm sorry. This is just for like the rules. I'm gonna ask if they've seen exhibits. Should I show you guys them too, or?
Go ahead and ask them if they're familiar with the exhibit, and make sure you mention the exhibit number, and we'll see what they say.
Okay, detective, you've examined exhibits 10, 11, and 12, correct?
I've seen them, yes.
Okay. And so it's your opinion that the person who tried to come in the front door is the same person that came through the back door?
Yes, it is.
So you're telling the jury that it was just one person that committed this crime?
It was one person, yes.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. Detective, I'd like to show you what has been marked as Exhibit 10. I'll do that right now.
Objection, the exhibit hasn't been admitted into evidence yet.
She's just showing it to the witness, so she can do that, and then lay the foundation with the witness. So.
Sorry, I'm having difficulties. I'm sorry, Your Honor, and my apologies to everyone. It seems that I can't, I'm just having severe technical issues.
All right. Let me ask the witness this. Do you have Exhibit 10 before you?
I can get it now, yes.
Okay. So she has Exhibit 10 before her. Go ahead and proceed with your questions.
Okay. Can you tell the jury what this picture is?
Sorry, I need to pull it up 1 second. Exhibit 10 shows a video of the intruder walking up to Mackenzie Brackman's front door, as seen from the ring footage.
Okay, and can you please describe the kind of shoes that the intruder is wearing?
Objection, relevance.
This goes towards, oh, sorry, response, Your Honor.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
This goes towards, sorry, I don't really know how to respond to this. It's laying a foundation for some of these upcoming questions.
I'm going to permit the question because it directs the attention to our attention to something relevant on for the intruder, and it's a preliminary question. So I'm going to permit it.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Would you like me to re-ask the question?
Yes, please.
Can you describe what kind of shoes the intruder is wearing?
I'm not entirely sure, but I believe they're wearing sneakers.
Okay, and I'm sorry. Would you say that they have laces?
Laces?
Yeah, like on the shoes.
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Now I'd like to show you Exhibit 11.
Ms. McLaughlin, do you have an Exhibit 11 before you?
Yes, I do.
All right, let's proceed with the questioning.
Okay. Sorry, 1 second. Okay. And can you describe what kind of shoes this person is wearing?
They're wearing sneakers.
And does this person have laces?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Oh, the first one actually doesn't. The Exhibit 10. Sorry, I wish I could put this up.
Okay.
Here, wait. Your Honor, may I show it to the screen?
Great solution.
Thank you. They're videos. Never mind. These are videos. Okay. So if you look at the first one, Exhibit 10, please look closely. And would you say that the surface of the shoe is flat or if it has laces?
I can't tell. I suppose it could be either.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. I have no further questions.
Redirect.
None at this time, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you very much for your presentation. Would the prosecution call their next witness?
The prosecution calls Kyle Kuzak to the stand.
Please raise your right hand. Witness?
Me or the witness, Your Honor?
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay.
Ms. Kuzak, can you state your name and spell your last for the jury?
Yes, my name is Kyle Kuzak, and my last name is spelled Kuzak.
And what is your profession?
I am a certified crime scene reconstruction investigator.
And how many years of experience do you have in this occupation?
I think I've had about 19 years of experience.
And where do you work?
I've been working as a civilian employee for the Denver Police Department since the past 3 years.
And are you board certified?
Yes, I am, by the Colorado Bureau of Investigation.
And what type of scenes do you have experience investigating?
I investigate all kinds of things, ranging from home invasions to homicides, armed robberies.
Your Honor, pursuant to Rule 702, in light of Kyle Kuzak's experience and specialized knowledge, I would like to offer Kyle Kuzak as an expert in crime scene reconstruction.
Any response?
Yes, Your Honor, and a quick voir dire, if I may.
Absolutely.
Kyle Kuzak.
Do you want to get your video on?
Oh, yeah. Your techs and the police have lost the photographs of the blood droplets in this case, haven't they? Kuzak?
Yes.
To be specific, you never personally examined Alex Cifuentes, Avery Becker, or Taylor Perkins' phone, correct?
That is correct.
So in terms of collecting evidence, you never collected or examined any of the phones that are alleged part of this case, correct?
Objection relevant.
Your Honor, I am showing that the witness that I'm objecting to, that they did not do a thorough enough investigation of this case and shouldn't be entered as an expert under those grounds.
May I respond, Your Honor?
Yes, please.
I don't believe this is relevant to the topic of Kyle Kuzak's experience and knowledge and whether they should be admitted as an expert. I think it's relevant to the case, but not to the expert's knowledge.
Ms. Bishop, your response is well taken. This does not go to the qualifications of the witness. It goes to the weight of her testimony. Kyle Kuzak will be accepted by this court as an expert in the fields outlined by the prosecution.
May I continue with my direct examination?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Kuzak, what is your approach to reconstructing a crime?
So first, whenever I do this, I always follow two key principles. I assume every single case goes to trial, and I also organize and documented all evidence with the mindset of future reconstruction. And then after that, I approach the crime reconstruction in 5 steps or parts. It's recognition and documentation, and then the second is collection of evidence, then I evaluate the evidence, and then it's hypothesis and testing, and finally the reconstruction.
And is this the process you use to reconstruct this case today?
Yes, it is.
Based on your reconstruction process, how do you believe the perpetrator entered the victim's residence?
I believe that the perpetrator, who had the same general height and build of the defendant, approached the front door to check if it was locked or open, and it was locked. So then the perpetrator went around to the back of the residence and entered through the back door.
And were there any fingerprints or DNA found at the crime scene?
None of the perpetrator, but there was of the victim.
And is this common to not find DNA or fingerprints of the perpetrator?
It is not uncommon because most often the fingerprints and DNA aren't always left on every surface.
And was there any evidence gathered right inside the residence?
Yes, there was.
And what was this evidence?
There were scuff marks, a knife block, open drawer with knives, and a broken plate.
On the topic of the scuff marks, do you know whether an image was taken of these scuff marks?
Yes, there was.
And would you recognize this image if you were shown it?
I would.
Your Honor, permission to present what has been previously marked as Exhibit 18.
We'll assume that the witness has it in front of her to save time and technical, and proceed with your questions.
All right, Ms. Kuzak, do you have, oh, there we go. Ms. Kuzak, what is this image showing?
It shows scuff marks that are on the floor, near the back door in the kitchen.
And where in the residence were these marks found?
Near the back door, that's by the kitchen.
Your Honor, at this time, I move for Exhibit 18 to be admitted into evidence.
Any objection?
Objection, lack of foundation. I don't believe I heard anything of who took the picture or if this is the same exhibit that the witness took.
Any response?
I believe I already asked Ms. Kuzak whether an image was taken of this picture in the investigation, and Ms. Kuzak confirmed that she recognized it.
I think counsel for the defense's objection is well taken. The exhibit needs to be true and accurate and have that foundation before it can be admitted. Would you like to continue with your foundation?
Yes, please. Ms. Kuzak, is this image reliable and true and accurate?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, at this time, I move for Exhibit 18 to be admitted into evidence.
Any objection?
I still don't believe I've heard who's taken the image. And that's my objection.
Any objection?
I still don't believe
I don't know who's talking, but the objections overruled. Foundation for a photograph is that it's a true and accurate representation of what a witness saw. And the identity of the photographer is not necessary for that. Kyle Kuzak, could you get a little closer to your microphone? I'm having a hard time hearing your testimony. Thank you so much.
Can you hear me now?
Little better, yeah.
Mrs. Kuzak, what do these scuff marks on the floor indicate?
They indicate that there was some kind of struggle that went down as soon as the intruder entered the residence.
Okay, that's enough for Exhibit 18. Was there any other evidence that suggests a struggle?
There was the broken plate on the kitchen floor, and then there was also an open knife drawer and a knife with the missing.
And talking about the open knife drawer, was an image taken of this knife drawer?
Yes, there was.
And would you recognize a photo of this drawer if you saw it?
I would recognize it.
And do you have a photo of the knife drawer in front of you?
Yes, I do.
Your Honor, permission to show what has been previously marked as Exhibit 7.
Granted.
Ms. Kuzak, what is this image showing?
It shows an open knife drawer with several of smaller knives.
And is this photo reliable and true and accurate?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, at this time, I move for Exhibit 7 to be admitted into evidence.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. It will be, Exhibit 18 will be admitted.
Now, in reference to kitchen knives, was there any other important evidence found at the scene of the crime?
There was the knife block with the missing chef's knife.
And was a photo taken of this knife block?
Yes, there was.
And would you recognize a photo of this knife block if you saw it?
Yes, I would.
Your Honor, permission to show what has been previously marked as Exhibit 8.
Please show Exhibit 8.
Ms. Kuzak, what is this image showing?
It shows a knife block on the counter with the missing large chef.
And is this image reliable and true and accurate?
That's what I saw.
Your Honor, at this time, I move for Exhibit 8 to be admitted into evidence.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Exhibit 8 will be admitted.
And Ms. Kuzak, is there anything odd about this knife block?
As I mentioned, there is a large chef knife that appears to be missing.
And is this the same type of knife that was recovered from the victim's body?
Yes, it was.
That's enough for Exhibit 8. Ms. Kuzak, was there anything else you used to determine how Mr. Brackman died?
There was an autopsy report.
And did you review this autopsy report?
I did.
So, in your expert opinion, based upon the evidence recovered at the scene and the autopsy report, what do you believe happened on the afternoon of March 6, 2020?
So on the afternoon of March 6, 2020, a perpetrator or intruder who appears to have the same general height and build as the defendant approached the front door of the residence and checked it to see if it was open, but it appeared to be locked. So that was caught by the ring alerts, and it alerted Mr. Brackman. Meanwhile, while Mr. Brackman was alerted, the intruder went around to the back of the residence and opened the door. By that time, since Mr. Brackman had been alerted, he was looking through the small knife drawer, but nothing that was good there for a defensive weapon. So he just took a large chef knife, and they struggled over the knife, and then the scuff marks were made when the intruder entered. Then they took their struggle to the kitchen, where a plate was knocked down, and then the intruder eventually got a hold of the knife and stabbed the witness in a bear hug position. And the knife was lodged into the shoulder blade, which nicked the lower arch of the aorta, and that caused a lot of internal bleeding. And then the intruder ran through the front door, and the victim pulled out the knife, which was acting as a little bit of a plug. But by that time, the internal bleeding was too much, and the victim collapsed.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Does the prosecution have any additional witnesses?
I believe there's supposed to be a cross-examination.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
I would like to do my cross if you don't mind.
I am so sorry. Of course.
That's okay. Mrs. Kuzak, as a crime scene reconstruction investigator, it is your job to secure and collect evidence, correct?
Dustin, there you go. Now your video's on.
That is correct.
This is because it is extremely important to accurately assess the scene and build a case, correct?
Yes.
This is because if the scene is corrupted in any way or an investigator doesn't collect everything, there could be a huge problem giving an accurate report on what happened, correct?
Yes.
According to your affidavit, you follow a 5-step process when investigating cases, correct?
That is correct.
And according to those 5 steps, 1, reconstruction and documentation, 2, collection of the evidence, 3, evaluation of the evidence, 4, hypothesis and testing, and 5, reconstruction, correct?
Yes.
You follow this 5-step method because it is vital to properly reconstruct a crime scene, correct?
That is correct.
In terms of reconstruction and documentations, your technicians collected blood splatters and took pictures of these splatters, correct?
That is correct.
Yet your techs and the police have lost these photographs of the blood droplets, correct?
Yes, but it was only lost after the analysis was made.
So in terms of collecting evidence, you never collected or examined any of the phones that are alleged to be part of this case, correct?
That is correct.
To be specific, you personally never examined Alex Cifuentes, Avery Becker's, or Taylor Perkins' phone, correct?
That is correct, but I was mainly just looking at the crime scene.
So you didn't see it necessary to collect their phones?
No.
Now, according to your investigation, you state that the murder weapon was a knife found at the scene, correct?
Yes.
And according to you, the autopsy indicated that the victim had only been stabbed 1 time, correct?
That is correct.
And in terms of collecting evidence, you still never collected any DNA fingerprints, did you?
No, but that's because none was found.
And this is... You also state that the knife had licked the neural arch of the victim's aorta after glancing off his pulmonary arm artery, correct?
Yes.
So according to the autopsy and your findings, the knife went in and stayed in until the victim pulled it out of himself, correct?
Yes.
So your theory of the case was that during frontal struggle between a victim and an assailant during a bear hug, the victim was stabbed only once and the fight stopped, correct?
Yes, because the knife would be too difficult to pull out the angle it was lodged in.
But after this intense struggle that even apparently caused scuff marks on the ground, you still don't believe that there was any DNA that could have been caught from that?
No, because the perpetrator was seen in the videos wearing gloves. And like I mentioned before, it's not uncommon for DNA and fingerprints to be left on surfaces.
It is also your connection that the victim might have known about the breakdown because of the ring feature, correct?
Yes.
However, according to Detective Markowitz, there is no evidence that the victim in fact alerted that a break-in was in process, correct?
I'm not sure, but even if the victim wasn't alerted by the ring, he had 2 security cameras, and surely he would have heard the front door trying to be opened and the back door sliding open.
But it is your theory that the victim wasn't surprised, correct?
Yes.
So if the victim was surprised, the whole scenario might be a little different, correct?
That is correct.
So the third prong of your analysis, evaluation, falls short
Objection
because there was...
argumentative.
Overruled.
So the third problem of your analysis, evaluation, falls short because there was no evaluation of the ring security feature on the phone to make sure it was working at the time of the murder, correct?
Yes.
The fourth prong of your analysis is hypothesis and testing, correct?
Yes.
Isn't also true that the victim, Mackenzie Brackman, was several inches taller than the defendant, Avery Becker?
Yes.
And still, after all of that struggle and scud marks, you don't believe a single follicle of hair or a single fingerprint or any
Objection
sweat
asked and
that
answered.
came off?
Response?
I wasn't asking the same question. I added to it.
May I respond?
Yes.
I believe we have already established twice that there was no DNA or fingerprints.
Well, this is cross-examination, and counsel's able to delve into all of the possibilities where DNA might have been left. So, Mr. Wisner, please proceed.
I will repeat my question. So, even after all of this struggle and all of this burly gone bad, you don't believe there was a single sweat droplet, a single follicle of hair, or anything that has been left on any surfaces that could have been collected?
It could have been there, but we did a very thorough investigation of the crime scene and we didn't find anything.
So thorough that you lost the blood splatters?
Well, like I said before, unfortunately, they did become corrupted, but we had them for the analysis.
Did you say that the blood splatters got corrupted? Is that what I heard?
The files for the blood splatter.
Do you have your affidavit in front of you?
Yes.
Can you read lines 44 through 45 for me?
It is my understanding that the digital files for the photographs of the crime scene became partially corrupted, and the photographs of the blood droplets and cast-off were lost at some point after my review.
During this hypothesis and testing phase, you never took into account that this may be been an intentional murder, did it?
Sorry, could you repeat the question, please?
During the hypothesis and testing phase, you never took into account that this may have been an intentional murder, did it?
I think we may have taken it into account.
During the course of your investigation and reconstruction, you never spoke to investigated Blair Rollins, did you?
No.
You never examined or investigated the threats his father made against Mackenzie Brackman, did you?
No,
You never checked Blair Rollins' height or weight, did you?
no,
To this day, you haven't reconstructed the scene based on a revenge murder, have you?
no.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Judge Bishop, do you have any redirect?
Briefly, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Ms. Kuzak, did you ever have the opportunity to interview or speak with Blair Rollins?
No, I did not.
And why is this?
I can't recall why, but I do know that, see, I was mostly just focusing on the crime scene aspect of it.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. I apologize for my mistake. Are there any further witnesses?
The prosecution calls Alex Cifuentes to the stand.
Thank you. Ms. Cifuentes? Can you hear?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, I'm just checking to make sure you can hear us.
Yes, I can.
All right. Do you want to raise your right hand? You solemnly swear that the testimony you will give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Please proceed, Ms. Cook.
Fuentes, could you please state your first name and spell your last name for the court?
Alex Cifuentes, Sifuentes.
What school do you attend?
I attend Colorado High School, also known as CHS.
And who is Mr. Brackman to you?
Mr. Brackman was my beloved mock trial coach.
And what grade were you in at the time of Mr. Brackman's death?
I was a junior.
Going deeper into your time in mock trial, what was the team dynamic like?
The team was always in a state of anxiety, and they were always stressed due to Avery Becker's behavior.
And how did you and Avery get along?
Avery and I were really good friends. I would consider us best friends.
How did Mr. Brackman and Avery get along?
Mr. Brackman and Avery did not get along well due to, again, Avery Becker's behavior of her laziness.
What was it like having Avery on the team?
Avery was really annoying at times and just didn't do her work.
Prior to
Objection, improper characterization. Used when a question or answer describes something that is highly prejudicial and not helpful to the jury. A typical example is describing the defendant and her actions as crazy. I believe I heard a derogatory term similar to that just now from the witness. You're muted, Your Honor.
Response?
The witness simply just recalled their relationship between Avery and Mr. Brackman. She was there at the time in mock trial, so she could see what was happening, and she did not call Ms. Becker crazy.
I'm going to admit the testimony. Please proceed.
Prior to regional tournament, Avery got demoted. What was her reaction to this?
Avery was really upset about it and convinced Taylor Perkins to drop the team for her.
And after this happened, why did Avery get kicked off the team completely?
Avery took a
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay. I don't think she can speak to the opinion of why Avery got kicked off the team.
Response?
Like I stated before, this Ms. Fuentes was there at the time in mock trial, and she saw the events that happened.
Are there any exceptions to hearsay that might apply?
Rule 603, character evidence is okay to prove bias or credibility. So this goes to Avery's credibility. On
the state of the record, I'm going to uphold the objection if you think about how to restate the question with an objection to hearsay or an exception to hearsay, I'll reconsider.
Okay. I will rephrase the question. So Avery, after Avery got kicked off, did you see her reaction to this?
Yes, I did.
And what did she do? Can you explain?
She looked really mad. She was like pounding her fists, and she just looked really devastated.
What did she do to Mr. Brackman's car?
She decided she'd take a marker that was permanent, not dry erase, and wrote Worst Attorney Award on his car.
All right. Moving on to your text with Avery. What happened after Mr. Brackman refused to let Avery back on the team?
Avery said she was going to break into his house and trash it.
I am now going to present obviously marked as Exhibit 14. Can you read this text for me?
I'm gonna wait until he's at work, then break in and trash it.
And these are do you recognize this photo?
Yes, I do.
Are these exact text messages on your phone?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, I move for the admission of Exhibit 14 into evidence.
Any response?
Yes, Your Honor. I believe that there's way too much up in the air of the credibility for this photo, and the fact that this might have not been an original photo and is actually a screenshot that was sent makes it to where it probably shouldn't be entered as full-on evidence.
Any further statements that the prosecution want to make?
This is the witness's own photo. They did take screenshots, but as they stated, it is from their phone.
Exhibit 14 will be admitted.
Thank you. What did you do after Avery texted those things to you?
I told her it was not a very good idea.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Cross-examination?
Mr. Fuentes, you're a student at CHS, correct?
That is correct.
You were on the mock trial team, correct?
Yes, I was.
And you were not primary lawyer, were you?
No, and I thought I deserved it.
All right, so Avery Becker won the Best Attorney Award at Regionals, didn't he?
Yes.
Avery was notorious for doing well, even though he practiced very little, correct?
Yes, and that really aggravated me.
Okay, so unlike you practiced very hard every single time, correct?
Yes.
All right, so if Avery was not on the team, you would have been moved up to primary lawyer, correct?
That is true.
All right, and you have told the police you were close friends with Avery, correct?
Avery and I were best friends.
However, your phone number and Facebook information was not saved on every phone, was it?
No.
In fact, his information wasn't saved on your phone, correct?
Correct.
All right. Isn't it true that the only times you and Avery ever saw each other was at the mock trial practice, correct?
That, and we also saw each other at the Fry Shack.
All right. So isn't it right that you ran into Avery and Taylor at the Fry Shack the night before the murder?
Yes, they were there as well.
So it's your testimony that Avery Becker texted you the day before the murder?
Yes.
The text was a request to speak to Coach, correct?
Yes.
Isn't it also true that he let you play a game on his phone before he left with Taylor, correct?
Avery did let me play games on her new phone.
All right, and back to the request. It was to make sure to get—
Time is expired.
What was that? Did anyone else understand her?
The time is expired.
We just started. Did you restart for our side?
Each side, prosecution gets 25 minutes for direct, and defense gets 20 minutes for cross, and you guys have run out of your 20 minutes for cross.
I just started. I am on my 16th question, and it was been less than 5 minutes for cross.
You guys get 20 minutes to do the cross for all the 3 witnesses, according to the mock trial timing rules.
Are you sure for that? Your Honor, may you look in the rules for that, because I don't think that is correct. And if so, can the time be stopped for us while we're doing this?
Of course.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Is our timer in here in this call?
I have the rules for timekeeping up if you would like me to read from that.
I have rule,
I believe it's rule 6.4 if you need to find it.
I have rule 5.6 in my judicial packet. And it says opening statement, 5 minutes per side, direct and optional redirect, 25 minutes per side, cross-examination and optional recross, 20 minutes per side. So it's not per examination, it appears. Or it's pretty vague. Wait. That can't be correct. It's got to be 20 minutes.
Yeah,
per,
it's for
per
each,
witness.
which is during back.
Yeah. No? What?
Your Honor, I'm pretty sure it's 25 minutes per side, and then for direct, and then 20 minutes per side for cross.
Okay.
And my time was not started at 20 minutes because I started to my question 16 and didn't get to go all the way through. And these are my beginning questions.
From my understanding, Your Honor, I start the time when the defense's first attorney started their first cross, and I proceeded to stop it for objections, stop it for technical difficulties, but it was ongoing for each lawyer's cross-examination. It's not a 20 minutes per person, it is a 20 minutes per side.
Okay. Hey, Kyle, Beth Klein. We have a question on the amount of time for cross-examination. One team believes it's 20 minutes per witness, and the other team believes that it's 20 minutes per side. It's on Courtroom 5, page 24 of our materials. It says direct examination and optional redirect 25 minutes per side, and cross-examination and optional recross 20 minutes per side. So that's the total amount of cross that someone has during their presentation. Like, for example, the prosecution, they have 20 minutes on direct total and 20 minutes for the defense total. Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. It is 20 minutes per side, so time has run. So this is, I'm sorry that this is one of the learning lessons that we have. So thank you for your presentations. I'm sorry I didn't know the answer as quickly as possible. Does the prosecution have any further or redirect?
The prosecution rests, Your Honor.
Okay, very good. Counsel for the defense, are you ready for, do you have any motions that you wish to present?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Is counsel for the defense ready to call their first witness?
Yes, Your Honor, we'd like to call Blake Van Allen to the stand.
Thank you so much. And we'll wait for you guys to get everybody on screen and make sure your video and your audio is on. There you are.
And Blake Van Allen?
All right, great. Are you ready to proceed?
We're just waiting on Blake Van Allen right now.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I believe she's having technical difficulties. We're having someone to go help her right now.
Okay.
Can we note to make sure that the time is paused for technical difficulties if we may, Your Honor?
Of course.
Time has been paused.
Thank you. Thank you for that. There she is. All right, we're all here. Blake, is your audio working?
You're lagging.
Come closer to the microphone, please.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, okay. All right, please state your name for the record.
Blake Van Allen.
What is your job?
I am a professor in criminal justice, private investigator, and a expert in police investigation.
What is your prior training?
I went to the Aurora Police Academy, and I have a master's degree from Ashford University.
How long have you been investigating crime scenes?
For over 5 years and over 100 cases.
Have you investigated reconstructed crime scenes?
Yes, several times.
And have you investigated cell phone tower analysis?
Yes, at least 100 times.
Have you been certified as an expert in court before?
Yes, by multiple courts.
Which courts?
U.S. District Court of Colorado, Kansas and Arizona, and state courts of Wyoming, Nebraska, and New Mexico.
And what were you certified in?
I have been accepted as an expert in crime scene reconstruction 8 times, cell tower analysis 5 times, and general police tactics 12 times.
All right, Your Honor, we'd like to have Professor Van Owen entered as an expert in crime scene reconstruction, cell tower analysis, and police investigation.
Thank you. Any response?
A brief voir dire, Your Honor.
To the qualifications of the witness, not the testimony.
Yes, Your Honor. You originally worked for the Aurora Police Department. Ms. Van Owen?
Nevaeh, is there issues? Do you need me to come over there?
Oh, we can't hear her.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'm kind of the audio guy, if I can go over there and help her with her audio.
Thank you. May we stop the time?
Okay, I'll be back.
Time has been stopped.
Okay, there. Can you guys hear me?
Perfectly. Thank you. I think you've got a better signal.
All right.
Please
Can you repeat?
Counselor.
Ms. Van Owen, you originally worked for the Aurora Police Department.
Yes, I did.
You left that department after an incident.
I left because I didn't believe with all the stuff with them, but I did leave shortly after that incident.
You then became disillusioned with police work and went into private investigation.
Yeah, I just thought I would be better working for myself.
You have only ever testified as the defense expert, never with the prosecution.
Objection, Your Honor, relevance. I don't see how the only doing defense has anything to do with the qualification of the witness.
Objection is well taken. The question goes to bias more than it does to his qualifications or her qualifications. So objection sustained.
Ms. Van Owen, you claim to be an expert in cell tower analysis, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, you cannot. Oh, sorry, can you repeat that?
I've been certified by multiple courts with cell tower analysis.
And yet you cannot provide any specific training in this area of expertise?
I have worked over 100 cases with cell tower analysis, so I have experience.
My question was on training. You cannot provide any specific training in this area of expertise.
Other than having experience in the field, I suppose not.
Your Honor, based on Rule 702A, I object to the qualifications of Blake Van Owen as an expert witness due to her lack of education and specialized training.
I'm going to overrule the objection and allow this witness to testify as an expert in the areas outlined by counsel. And on-the-job training does count as training. So wherever you learn is where you learn. So it can go to the weight of the evidence, but not the qualification of the expert.
Erica, if you're speaking, you're muted.
Blake Van Owen? Our computer froze.
May we pause for these technical difficulties again? Sorry about this. Internet is the internet.
It's fine. The time has been paused.
May we pause?
It's fine.
Louis, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, yes, we're good. We can continue now?
Yes, please.
All right. How do you become involved in this case?
I was hired by the defense to look at police investigation and the cell tower reports and crime scene.
Right. What do you do as part of your investigation?
I reviewed all the police reports. I looked at the crime scene reconstruction, and I looked at the.
All right. And what did you notice? What did you notice?
Well, I noticed right away that everything was rushed. I noticed that everything was rushed and they missed several things in the investigation.
All right. And how so?
Well, to start with, they had poor motive.
And what about motive?
The biggest mistake was that the detectives were so excited to have this senior that is missing one tournament versus someone who is going to jail for life, and they missed it because they were in a rush.
Objection, speculation.
Response?
Your Honor, we don't see speculation for this because from secondhand, Blake Van Owen herself did go over all of the evidence and went through a thorough investigation on it, so she does know what happened throughout the case on Markowitz and Kuzak's side.
I'm going to sustain the objection. The expert can talk about what other people did, but she cannot talk about what other people think. That would be speculation. So please focus your questions on the actions instead of the internal thoughts.
Of course, thank you, Your Honor. Blake Van Owen, where is Blair Rollins?
No one has seen him since shortly after the murder.
To your knowledge, did the police ever look at him seriously as a suspect?
No, they did not.
All right, have you reviewed Exhibit 22, the tape from the Rowland Court's proceeding?
Yes, I have.
All right, Professor Van Owen, can you identify what Exhibit 22 is?
It's Jonathan Rowland's threat made in open court.
Did you listen to this tape?
Yes, I have.
I'm going to ask you to listen to this tape now, which I'll share on my screen.
I'll get you back, Brackman, if it's the last thing I do.
All right. Is this the same tape you reviewed in your investigation?
Yes, it is.
All right, Your Honor, we'd like to enter Exhibit 22 into evidence.
Any response?
Objection, hearsay.
Your Honor, it is not hearsay because it's not being offered as the truth of the matter, only that it has been stated.
For what purpose are you offering it?
We are offering this as a purpose for evidence to bring out what the truth of what really happened.
Isn't that what hearsay is?
No, because we're using it as a foundation that it was just a stipulated fact, not of the truth of the matter, Your Honor.
Well, I'll go ahead and admit it. And maybe you can tie it up a little bit better for your record on appeal.
Of course, thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Blake Van Owen, how does this impact your analysis?
It showed me that the Rollins family had a much stronger motive.
And did the police ever investigate them?
Not to my knowledge.
All right. Now the police have argued the cell phone has been the cell phone tower analysis has been established a motive and location. What did the investigation reveal?
It showed me that they made mistake after mistake, like they never even actually obtained any of the 3 phones involved in this case.
And what do you mean by that?
I mean, they never obtained or examined Alex Fuentes' phone, the defense phone, or Taylor's phone.
And why is this so important?
Because you need to, like, all the police evidence is circumstantial and they've never actually looked at it.
And can phones be manipulated, Ms. Blake Van Owen?
Yes, absolutely. That's why examining the phone itself is so important.
So are you saying the screenshots could have been manipulated?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, next to my next questions for the cell tower. What did you know about the cell phone tower information?
Well, Detective Markowitz basically took his theory that Alex had done it and tried to use it to confirm that.
And what do you mean?
Action speculation.
Response.
Your Honor, we don't see how this is speculation because he is only saying how he, over the evidence that he has analyzed and how it was throughout with the team.
May I respond?
Yes, ma'am.
I believe the witness said something along the lines of Ms. Kuzak trying to fit evidence into an idea, I believe. And I think that is speculation.
Your Honor, if I may respond, we were talking about Markowitz and how he himself went over the theory and what he was trying to say with it. And Your Honor, this is Van Owen's own opinion on the situation.
This is opinion testimony. It will be permitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. And by this, let me restate my question for you. What does this mean with the cell phone tower information about Markowitz?
It means that he didn't take into the account that the towers only tell us where the ping occurred off of which tower. It doesn't tell us the exact location.
And so what does that mean?
It means that it could have been anywhere within that broad area. It could have been anywhere from Alex's house to the Fat Shack or even Blair Rowland's home.
And what about the lost phones?
The detective never investigated that Avery had lost.
All right, now we'll move on to the security camera questions. What did you notice from the cameras?
Well, I noticed that the scene did not agree with the police theory. There was 2 intruders and not 1.
All right.
Objection, speculation.
Response.
Your Honor, we don't see how this is speculation as the evidence has been entered and he's just voicing his opinion of what he saw in that video.
May I respond?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't believe it has been established that whether there were 2 perpetrators, unless this is speculative.
Your Honor, may I respond?
Yes.
In Markowitz's own testimony, we had one of our lawyers show Markowitz this evidence that there were 2 different people there due to their shoes.
If you can tie it up a little bit better, Counselor, I'll allow you to proceed so that you can establish your foundation.
All right, for this, in the video that they have shown, we have showed that there were 2 different intruders there that day due to...
My apologies. Go ahead and ask some additional questions of your witness to establish the foundation.
All right, and for 2 intruders?
Yes, if you notice that each assailant is wearing different shoes and the timestamp can mean 2 different people. So the only that shows that there's 2 different people.
Please proceed, Ms. Marquez.
What was that? All right. So next, what about the altercation that took place inside the house?
I noticed that it couldn't have occurred how the reports say they did because they're basing their evidence off of the Ring door alarm.
All right, and what do you mean by that?
They're basing it off of the rings of security going off on his phone, but it wouldn't have gone off if he knew there was a problem.
So what does that mean?
That means he was probably surprised, but not at the back door.
And how do we know that?
We know that based on how he was stabbed. The way he was stabbed was indicating he was sitting down when he was assaulted, and because the knife handle couldn't have been used the way they said it did.
All right, and what about the scuff marks?
The scuff marks could have been made long prior to the murder.
So what does the evidence show?
The evidence shows that the victim was most likely sitting down at his table when he got up after he was stabbed from behind, got up, the chair was knocked over, the plate was dropped, and then while walking towards the front door, he pulled out the knife, and that's how the splatter was caused, and then died shortly after.
Miss Blake-Van, can you demonstrate this for us?
Okay, so if we are to say this is the victim, well, no, this is the victim, and this is the intruder, you got to say how the police reports are saying it is that he was stabbed over and in the back, which couldn't have happened considering he was taller than the intruder, so that's physically impossible. So the only way is if he was stabbed from a much lower angle.
All right, and why do you believe that this was what happened?
Because there was a big size difference between the victim and the attacker. The only way the knife could have hit the victim's scapula was if he was at a much lower angle than suggested by the police.
All right, Ms. Blake-Van, so based on your expert opinion, who committed this murder?
In my opinion, I believe that Blair Rollins did the crime. I know for sure it wasn't Avery Becker.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Cross-examination?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Van Owen, you believe that the prosecution's investigation came to the easy conclusion?
Yes, I do.
You believe that Kyle Kuzak is a little egotistical?
I wouldn't say that. I just believe they didn't take as much time examining.
You don't believe Kyle Kuzak is a little egotistical?
I don't know.
Objection relevance?
Counsel?
This is relevant because it goes to Ms. Van Owen's opinion on the opposing investigation.
I'll permit it. Overruled.
Ms. Van Owen, you believe that Detective Markowitz influenced some of Kuzak's findings?
I couldn't say what's happening with their heads. I can't make that.
Do you or do you not believe that Detective Markowitz influenced some of Kuzak's findings?
I mean, it could have.
However, you have no proof to back up this claim.
I do not see what this has to do with the case.
Do you or do you not have proof to back up this claim?
No, I suppose.
Ask and answer.
May I
Objection,
respond?
ask and answer.
Your Honor, Mr. Wisner is not the presiding attorney on Blake Van Owen, and therefore cannot object during my cross-examination.
Yeah, let's have one person object for each round because everybody's getting graded on this. The answer came in the second asking of the question, and the answer was no. Let's move on.
Ms. Van Owen, you stated that the only evidence of a struggle were scuff marks on the floor.
Yes, but those could have been made long prior to the murder.
So you do not believe that the broken plate on the floor of the kitchen or the open drawer or the missing knife in the knife block are evidence of a struggle?
No, I believe he was surprised and had stood up and knocked over the chair and broken the plate.
Based on phone records, you concluded that Becker and Perkins were trying to find Becker's phone in the mall on the day of the murder?
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. Based on phone records, you concluded that Becker and Perkins were trying to find Becker's phone in the mall on the day of the murder?
Sorry, can you repeat the question one more time?
Sure. You concluded that Avery Becker and Taylor Perkins were trying to find Avery Becker's phone in the mall on the day of the murder.
That's correct.
Despite this, you never obtained cell tower records from the day prior to support this claim?
Neither did the police. That never even investigated the fact that he had lost his phone, and they're basing their evidence off of a wide area where the call could have been pinged off of.
So just to clarify, you did not obtain these cell tower records?
No, I did. I examined the cell tower report.
May I clarify, you have never obtained the cell tower records from the day prior?
I'm not entirely sure.
We can move on. You don't believe Avery Becker had enough motive to kill Mr. Brackman?
I do not. I don't think that missing one tournament is as big as your father going to prison for life.
Right, so you believe that Blair Rowlands had more motive to kill Mr. Brackman?
His father is going to prison for life and made a threat in open court versus someone who is missing one tournament.
However, you've never had the chance to speak with Blair Rowlands on this?
He went missing a little while after the murder. No one's been able to get in contact with him.
And you've never actually met Blair Rowlands?
He's been missing. He's been, no one can find him because he disappeared.
The question was whether you've met Blair Rowlands.
No, I have not.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any redirect?
Yeah, Your Honor.
All right. Will the defense like to call their next witness?
Your Honor, I call Taylor Perkins to the stand.
Is Ms. Bista, are you the witness?
No, I'm the attorney crossing.
Okay, and Yasmin, you're the witness?
No, I'm doing her direct.
Okay, do we have a witness?
Yeah, Christina.
Christina, unmute yourself and turn on your camera, please.
Sorry, Your Honor.
That's okay.
That's because I was blowing my nose. I'm so sorry. Did not.
Don't worry about it. Okay, are you guys ready?
I'm ready if Jasmine's ready.
I'm ready.
Counsel, please proceed.
Can you please state your name for the record?
Taylor Perkins.
And are you a student at Colorado High School?
No, I'm a senior at CU Boulder. I was, though, last year.
And do you know Avery Becker?
Yes, me and her are best friends.
Can you tell the jury where you were on the day of the murder?
Me and Avery were looking for her phone on the day of the murder.
And did you guys find it?
We did not, unfortunately.
What were some of the things that you guys did to find the phone?
We tried calling it, we tried the GPS locator, and we also tried messaging it. No result.
What else did you do?
We also tried driving around the whole neighborhood looking for it. Nothing. We also tried asking people that were at the Fry Shack, and they say they haven't seen the phone.
And did you guys ever go near Mr. Brackman's home?
We did not.
So Taylor, do you know Alex Fuentes?
I do know him.
Who is Alex?
Alex is this kid when I was a senior in high school. He was a kid in mock trial that me and Avery were in with. We didn't really talk, but.
So were you and Avery close friends with Alex?
No, we were not.
Why does Alex seem to think a bit differently?
I don't know, to be honest. Like, Me, Avery, and him were not close at all. The only time we talked was when we questioned him because we were on the mock trial and we only had him.
Okay. And sorry. Do you know Blair Rollins?
Everyone knew him, including me, but I did not talk to him. I just seen him around the hallways though.
What do you know about Blair's dad?
What I know about his dad was that he got life sentence, and that Mr. Beckman represented him.
Do you know where Blair is now?
No,
Speculation.
I'm just asking for her opinion. Or
actually, she already said she doesn't know. It's a foundational question. She's indicated she doesn't know. So you're complete with your questioning. Let's go on to the next question.
Okay. On the day of the murder between 11 a.m. and 5 p.m., where were you?
Can you repeat it? You cut out.
On the day of the murder between 11 a.m. and 5 p.m., where were you?
Me and Avery were out looking for her phone.
And on that day, did you guys commit a murder?
Can you repeat it?
And on that day, did you guys commit a murder?
No, we did not.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have no further questions.
Can you redirect or cross?
Yes, Your Honor. Good evening, Ms. Perkins. I would like to start by asking you what your relationship with Avery is like. Avery is your best friend?
Yes, she is.
You would not have done mock trial if Avery had not done it?
I joined because of Avery, but I started liking it myself.
Your mock trial coach was Mackenzie Brackman?
Yes, he was an amazing coach.
You are sure that Mackenzie Brackman was an amazing coach?
Yes, I'm sure. He was nice to me because I was the one always coming prepared. But with Avery, somewhat.
Your Honor, I move to present the affidavit of Taylor Perkins.
For what purpose?
In Taylor Perkins's affidavit, Taylor Perkins calls Mackenzie Brackman a mediocre coach, and right now Taylor Perkins is testifying that Mackenzie Brackman was an amazing coach.
So you'd like to use the affidavit to impeach the witness on a prior inconsistent statement? Please proceed.
Yes, thank you. Okay, you are sure that Mackenzie Brackman was an amazing coach?
What line is it?
Could you please answer this question? You took an oath in court today. You swore under penalty of perjury to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Well, he was a personality-wise, but it was personality-wise that he was a good coach, but.
That was not the question. Could you please answer this question? These questions. You took an oath in court today. You swore under penalty of perjury to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yep.
Let the record reflect that I'm showing Taylor Perkins's affidavit, and I will move to line 4. Line 5.
Line 4 and 5?
Line 5 to 6.
Okay.
Line 6. Avery and I, please follow along as I read line 6. Avery and I thought Brackman was a mediocre coach and an even mediocre lawyer.
Okay, I might have
This
said
statement
that.
is not the same as the statement you made in court today. Your Honor, I move to impeach the witness.
Well, you've impeached the witness with her prior inconsistent statement, and you're complete with that process. So you can move on to your next line of questioning.
Thank you. Brackman made bad choices for the team?
No, he did not.
You are sure that Brackman did not make bad choices for the team?
Objection,
Yeah, I'm
hearsay.
sure he did not. What was it, Dustin?
Asked and answered. Objection.
Oh, okay. He did.
Okay.
May I move on, Your Honor?
Yes, please.
You thought Avery was the best lawyer on the mock trial team?
Well, I wouldn't say the best, but she was a good lawyer on the mock trial team.
Avery, you think that Brackman didn't like Avery?
Well, here's the thing. Mr. Brackman did like her, but the only time he did not like her was when she came prepared. Well, sorry, when she came unprepared.
Sorry, objection, Your Honor. I don't think the witness can call on what other people think.
She's trying to explain her prior inconsistent statement. So
Okay.
this is impeachment of a witness when they've made a statement before and they're saying something different in court. This is one of those things that happens. So Counselor Bista, please proceed.
Thank you. Avery put in little effort into mock trial?
No, she put a lot of effort, but the only time she did not put effort was when she came unprepared. Oh, actually, Your Honor, can I refresh my memory real quick? Read over my lines.
Counsel, do you have a position?
Your Honor, I do not believe witnesses can refer to their affidavits unless directed by an attorney.
Sustained. Let's continue with the questioning.
Avery played pranks on Brackman?
I'm sorry, can you repeat it?
Yes, of course. Avery played pranks on Brackman?
From my perspective, no, she did not. But if they did, it would either be like when he's in a good mood.
Avery could be rash and have an inflated ego at times?
Your Honor. May the witness refer to their affidavit to refresh her memory.
Ms. Perkins, will the affidavit help you refresh your memory about what you said previously?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objection, Ms. Bista?
None.
Okay, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
May I continue with my questions?
Yes, please.
Avery could be rash and have an inflated ego at times?
Well, if I'm gonna be okay. Sorry, I had the word. I'm sorry. Okay, so can you repeat the question one more time?
Yes, Avery could be rash and have an inflated ego at times?
Yes, but not like he could kill Mr. Brackman.
Avery came to practice the most unprepared that you have ever seen last year?
Well, you see, he would come prepared all the time. The only time that I was shocked that he did not come unprepared was on the finals.
That is all. Brackman demoted Avery to the B team?
Correct.
You stepped down from the team in support of Avery?
Yes, I quit because...
that is all. Brackman gave Avery a hard time about everything?
Objection, Your Honor. I'd like my witness to be able, the witness to be able to finish what she was going to say.
Mr. Weisner, it's not your witness, so we need to have the right counsel make the objections. Any objections?
Yes, Your Honor. My witness didn't get to finish her answer.
Your Honor, the witness was non-responsive before.
Well, let's, if you feel they were non-responsive, go ahead and ask your question again and we'll see what happens.
You stepped down from the team in support of Avery.
Yes, I did. I quit because I didn't think it would be as much fun without Avery. So I quit because it wasn't going to be the same without her.
Brackman gave Avery a hard time about everything.
No, only the time she came unprepared.
Avery tried everything. Brackman kicked Avery off the team.
Yes, he did.
Avery tried everything to get back on the team.
She did. She tried talking to Mr. Brackman.
And Brackman did not let Avery back on the team.
No, he did not.
And Avery texted everyone on the team right after Avery got kicked off.
Yes.
You think Avery texted even Alex Fuentes?
He also him.
At Fry Shack, Alex told Avery how unfair it was that the coach kicked Avery off the team.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
And Avery and you talked about Blair Rowlands being involved in Brackman's murder.
No.
But you did not know Blair Rowlands well.
No, like I said, I barely knew him by just seeing him around the hallways. Everyone knows like how he is, but
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. What's next, counsel?
I believe we are going to call Avery Becker.
All right, let's call the next witness.
Please state your name for the record. I can't hear you, Kenzie.
Justin, we can't see you.
Oh, yeah. Can't see me and can't hear her. Kenzie?
Hello?
There you are. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Please say your name for the record.
Avery Becker.
Mr. Becker, why are you here today?
I'm being wrongly accused of murder.
Do you know the victim in this case?
Yeah, he was my moot court teacher.
Have you ever had problems with Mr. Brackman?
Only once.
What happened?
He threw me off the mock trial team because he said I wasn't working hard enough or taking it seriously enough. So I got angry and wrote on his white Porsche Worst Attorney Award. And I thought it was going to be erasable, but it ended up being permanent.
Sorry about that. And what did Mr. Brackman do about this?
Actually, he was quite nice. He didn't call the police. He just said I could return to the team.
How did this make you feel?
It made me feel angry and sad because I wanted to win the Best Attorney Award at State Champions.
Mad enough to kill?
Oh no, because I didn't need to do any more tournaments. I was already going to college and going to compete there.
When the prosecutors are going to say, the prosecutors may say that this is your motive to kill and destroy his house.
No, because if you think about it, I've already received several Best Attorney awards, and I was only going to miss one tournament, and that one tournament wouldn't impact my college opportunities, so there wasn't a need to ruin my life with criminal charges for criminal mischief or burglary.
Do you know Alex Fuentes?
Yes, I do.
Who is he?
He's a kid I went to school with at CHS, and he was on the mock trial team.
Would you consider you two friends?
Not really. We are just on the same team, and I had recruited him to the team when he was a freshman, but we never hung out and really talked outside of moot court.
Did you ever text him?
Nope, I'm not even sure I have his number.
Does it surprise you to hear that he says he has messages from you? Oh, he thinks you two are close buddies.
Really, that's interesting.
He says he has text messages from you.
No way, I can prove that they didn't come from me.
How's that?
If you analyze the phone exchange, you'll see the phones don't know each other and that the exchange that was made wasn't informal, but quite stiff.
Well, what do you mean by stiff and informal?
If he was really my buddy, I wouldn't have to announce who I was to him in the text, and that shows that it wasn't me on the text. I don't have to say who I am to my friends.
Now, Avery, can you tell us what happened to the phone the day before the murder?
I lost it.
Do you know what happened to it?
I'm not really sure, but I think I left it at the fry shack where it was taken by Alex Fuentes and used to frame me with the Blair Rollins.
Where were you during the day of the murder?
I was with my buddy Taylor Perkins all day searching for my phone.
Where did you go?
We went all over trying to find it. We retraced our steps and we went to the mall and then the fry shack.
Did you ever go near Mr. Bracken's house?
Absolutely not.
Do you know Blair Rollins?
Yes.
In your personal opinion, can you describe him physically?
You know, he kind of has the same build as me and he's probably dressed up in the Halloween costume.
Avery, did you have anything to do with the murder of Mr. Brackman?
No, I did not.
Thank you, Your Honor. I rest.
Cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Becker. Let's start with your time in mock trial and your relationship with Mr. Brackman. So first off, you went to Colorado High School, right?
Kenzie, is your audio not working again? Can anyone else hear her?
I cannot.
Do you need me to come over there and help you?
Yeah, because like my...
Oh.
Yeah.
There you go. I think if you get closer to the screen, it seems to work better.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay,
All right,
so
please proceed.
first off, you went to Colorado High School, right?
Yeah.
And you were in the mock trial club at CHS.
Yeah,
Mr. Brackman was your mock trial coach.
he was.
You and Mr. Brackman didn't have a good relationship.
I mean, I wouldn't say it was a bad relationship, but I tried to be better than him at times.
Was this because he treated you differently in the club that you didn't have a good relationship?
No.
Okay. Would he call you lazy or tell you to work harder?
Sometimes he would, yeah.
Would this make you angry?
I mean, sometimes because I try my hardest all the time.
Thank you. A month before the regional tournament, Mr. Brackman cut you from A team, right?
Yeah.
You were mad at him after this?
Yeah.
And then after regionals, you got mad at Mr. Brackman again, correct?
Yeah.
You wrote worst attorney award on his car?
Objection, Your Honor. Cumulative, this material being asked has been covered before. I already asked her extensively about the marker and she has already explained the whole situation in direct.
She's able to cross. Please proceed. Overruled.
So you wrote worst attorney award on his car, right?
I did, but I didn't think it was going to be permanent.
Okay, whether or not it was permanent or expert marker, you still vandalized his car.
Again,
Objection, Your Honor. Ask and answer.
Overruled.
So after this fiasco, you vandalizing Mr. Brackman's car, Mr. Brackman cut you from the team entirely. And this made you very upset, angry, right?
But not enough to murder him, no.
You were still angry, right?
Yeah, correct.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Can you redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. Now, Avery, I will ask you once again, who were you with the day before and the day of the murder?
Taylor Perkins.
Were you with him the entire time?
Yes.
And once again, do you know about Blair Rollins?
Nope.
You don't know Blair Rollins?
Oh, I know him, but I like, are you asking where he's at? Because I don't know.
No. And can you describe him just once again for the court physically, what his stature is?
He was kind of built the same as me. Like, you know, short and
And do you think he was the one that was caught in the cameras?
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
No further questions.
Anything further?
The prosecution rests, Your Honor.
Thank you. Anything further from the defense?
I don't believe so. I think we're ready to go to closings if we are all on the same page.
Agreed? Okay, prosecution's closing argument, please.
Your Honor, before I begin my closing statement, I would like to request that any time left over after my closing be reserved for rebuttal after the defense.
Granted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Payback, stabbed in the back. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, today you have heard two sides of the story of Mackenzie Brackman and one of his disgruntled students, Avery Becker, and the unfortunate death that followed. You've seen the evidence that proves that Avery Becker is guilty of the burglary and murder of Mackenzie Brackman. We know Avery and Brackman had a rocky relationship. We know that Avery was enraged when she was told to work harder and subsequently demoted to the B team. So enraged, she went as far to vandalize Brackman's car. We know that Avery got kicked off the team following this incident, which only propelled her rage further. The defense claims that Avery's text messages to Alex Cifuentes, in which she explains her plans for revenge, are fake. However, what incentive would Alex Cifuentes have to throw their own friend under the bus? You heard from Taylor Perkins, who was easily convinced by Avery to drop off the A team so that Avery could get back on, and who made their loyalties clear even before Brackman's death. You have heard firsthand Taylor Perkins' inconsistencies in her testimony. Blake Van Owen, a private investigator, created a report on the case. Many of the claims made in this report, however, cut corners and leave out vital pieces of information. The defense wants you to believe that Blair Rollins murdered Mackenzie Brackman, despite all of the evidence pointing towards Avery Becker, despite no one on the defense having ever even met Blair Rollins. Avery Becker has been charged on 2 accounts, burglary in the 2nd degree and murder in the 1st degree. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, as the prosecution, we hold the burden of proof, and thus you must find Avery Becker to be beyond a reasonable doubt guilty of these charges. The evidence that we have presented makes Avery's guilt clear as day. As jury members, you must decide whether the stab in the back was indeed payback. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I urge you to rule that Avery Becker is guilty of both burglary in the 2nd degree and murder in the 1st degree. Thank you.
Closing for the defense.
Your Honor, may I reserve any remaining time for rebuttal?
Does the defense get rebuttal?
Yes.
I don't believe defense is permitted rebuttal.
I don't think so. I don't think you get rebuttal.
That is fine, Your Honor. All right. Rage, rivalry, revenge. Rage, rivalry, revenge. Resentment, rivalry, revenge. If the motive doesn't fit, you must acquit. If the motive doesn't fit. Missing one moot court competition versus your dad's life imprisonment are 2 very different motives here. Blair Rollins has gone missing. Blair Rollins has the motive, the opportunity, the assistance to commit this murder. Blair Rollins has gone missing suddenly after this murder. The prosecution can't tell you where he is. The police can't tell you where he is. No one can tell you, except for maybe Alex Cifuentes. Prosecution's theory is wrong because as one of their main views was that near and Exhibit 10, in Exhibit 10 and 11, they showed the video cams of this. As stated in Markowitz's own words, he said that there was only one person there. As we were visually shown that if you look closely, there are two different people there, but as stated in Markowitz's testimony, he says there was only one. In Markowitz's own testimony, she stated in her own affidavit, I never take the case where I think it should go, but I follow the evidence where it goes and where it takes me. You can see clearly that she jumped quickly to the conclusion, not even realizing that there were two people that were there. This goes to show how rushed the investigation was. And when they were to their own experts, they even look at all the scenarios. This is because they were quick to try and frame our defendant, Your Honor. Secondly, they will try to point out that no one knew Blair Rollins, but this is the problem here. On prosecution sides, none of them have talked to him, none of them investigated him, which has a very clear motive. Neither of this shows that they were quick with their investigation and they didn't really go through with everything. There's too many things that leave us reasonable doubt. There's too many inconsistencies left by the police. The police never obtained Alex Fuentes' phone. The police never obtained Avery Becker's phone. Dr. Markowitz says he's trained in cell phone technology, but doesn't even know the key basics to the iPhone. You will hear testimonies on how alleged messages could have been easily fabricated by Alex Fuentes and his bloody Blair Rollins. That wasn't the case here. And there were no time or date stamps on the messages, no saved numbers, no fingerprints, no witness cell phone. Your Honor, are we really going to use screenshots that could have easily been fabricated and never even examined by the police to be one of the key evidence? The police lost important forensic evidence. The police lost important photographs. The police never investigated Ballrans, who has a very clear motive. Then we have Kyle Kuzak, the crime scene investigator. Listen carefully to his botched crime scene investigation and mistaken analysis to what happened that day. There's no way the victim could have been stopped the way he suggests. He also didn't preserve key evidence nor alternate theories. Your Honor, his theory of what happened simply makes no sense. If the victim had seen a burglar at his front door, he would have dialed 911. There was no call. The scalp marks at the back door were not fresh, but old. Where the victim was stabbed was not consistent to a face-to-face fight, but with someone who was trying to get stabbed from behind. The prosecution starts with Alex Fuentes. Star witness Alex Fuentes has motive and the opportunity to frame our client. Rage and rivalry. Alex wanted to be the star of moot court and would be if Avery remained kicked off the team. Alex was never good friends with Avery. They hardly talked. Rage and rivalry. Their phone numbers were not mutually shared or saved. Revenge. Alex was friends with Blair Rollins and his desire for revenge against Mr. Brackman. Revenge. Alex was at the fire check the night before and took Avery's phone. Revenge. Blair Rollins and his father even shouted in open court that Mackenzie was doomed. Ladies and gentlemen, who had the motive to commit this crime? A senior worried about one last moot court competition, or angry, vengeful teen seeking revenge for his father's life imprisonment, and a jealous student who wanted to be a lawyer. As you can see, prosecution will try to say that that Avery Becker is not innocent, which Avery Becker himself went over and apologized when he did make a mistake while riding on Mr. Brackman's car here. Avery Becker is innocent. He didn't do this crime. The prosecution needs to find Blair Rollins.
May I begin with my rebuttal, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
The defense would like you to believe that there are two perpetrators at the scene, despite both Kyle Kuzak and Jordan Markowitz's testimonies pointing towards there only being one perpetrator. None of the evidence left at the scene points to two perpetrators. Let me repeat, none. The defense would like you to believe that Avery couldn't have stabbed Mr. Brackman due to her being of a small build. However, they would also like you to believe that Blair Rollins, who witnesses have testified has a similar build to Avery, could have stabbed Mackenzie Brackman. These doubts that the defense is trying to instill in you that Avery Becker could not have murdered Mackenzie Brackman are inherently unreasonable. Rage, rivalry, revenge. Rage. Avery's rage at her mock trial coach has already been thoroughly demonstrated through the vandalism of his car in permanent marker. Rivalry. We have heard Alex Cifuentes' thoughts on Avery's performance in mock trial. We have heard Alex Cifuentes saying that Avery Becker is her friend. What good would it do Alex Cifuentes to get her own friend locked up over a mock trial club, over a dumb rivalry? Revenge. Avery got revenge on Mackenzie Brackman once. She wrote Worst Attorney Award on his car. When the consequences went further, Avery took her revenge further. This revenge was taken into a robbery that resulted in Mackenzie Brackman's tragic death. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it is your job today to determine whether Avery's rage, rivalry, and revenge propelled her to murder. You must decide whether this stab in the back was indeed payback. Thank you.
Thank you, counselors. I believe that concludes the presentation of the students. And are the scoring, is there something further? Ms. Cook? Okay. Scoring judges. Good morning. Hi. How much time do you need to add everything up and get your thoughts together for critique?
I could just be ready in a couple minutes. If I could get a team code for plaintiff and defense, I'll send off my scores. And then have we been doing personalized feedback or just kind of group thoughts?
You can do however you feel that you can convey something worthwhile. The most worthwhile thing that you can do in the most effective way that you feel you should do it. So I'm going to leave it to you guys to express yourselves and not tell you how to do it.
Okay.
You know yourselves better than I do. Why don't I do a critique then while you're totaling things up? And then if you just wave your hand at me when you're ready, then we'll turn to you. Okay. And you said you needed a code for sending something?
Just ask for a team code for plaintiff and a team code for defense.
Well, I can tell you the team names. One is, hang on. One is Fozzie Bear and the other team is Beaker is the prosecution and Fozzie Bear is the defense. All right, students, why don't you all come on screen and we'll let the judges do their final paperwork. How does everybody feel? Did you learn a lot during this process? Okay, great. It is difficult when the rules are the way that they are, and sometimes you know all the rules and sometimes you don't. But practicing law is like understanding the ocean. You have to jump in and you start, and you always make mistakes no matter what during your whole process of being a lawyer and through your journey through your entire career as an attorney. So never let a mistake make you stop, and never let the fact that you don't know a rule stop you from helping other people. Because fundamentally, that's what being a lawyer is about, is helping people solve their problems in a powerful way that they can't do themselves. And it changes things, it gives voice to things. And so I know it was disappointing that time ran out and there was some stuff about that, but y'all recovered great. You retained your poise and professionalism about that. And sometimes I can speak for every lawyer that has ever existed and every lawyer that will ever be. You will make a mistake all the time. And it's how you handle your mistakes with truthfulness and integrity that make you great lawyers. So thank you for handling that difficult situation with such grace. And it was tough, but I really appreciate your professionalism as such a young person. The other thing I would say to you is that the most important thing about being a trial lawyer is connecting with people and landing with them so that you're heard. So when you really have an intention of being with someone or really in communication with somebody and you're authentic about it, it makes all the difference in the world. So this is your time to shine. Slow down, take a deep breath. You're understanding these facts more and more, and you will grow more and more. You've now learned a huge vocabulary. You've learned 1,000 rules already. You know, but just honor yourself and realize that you know what you need to do, and just calm down, slowly tell your story and land it. Make an impact on what you have to say. And you're going to be great. You're going to continue to develop wonderfully. So do you have any questions for me? Well, or are the judges ready? Okay. Melanie, do you want to take off from here? And then Elizabeth? And by the way, these are two fabulous, fabulous professionals, and I have a great respect for them, and I thank them for their service.
Thank you, and thank you all for all of your hard work getting ready for today. I teach trial advocacy at the law school at CU, and also have spent the last week training trial advocacy for parents or for attorneys who represent indigent parents. And I would say overall, all of you did a better job than seasoned attorneys in knowing what a leading question is and asking a leading question. And I was so happy to see that all of your crosses were that's a hard skill, I think, to master, and all of you did a really good job with that skill. So I wanted to say that overall. I also just want to thank the witnesses. These were some complicated facts, and particularly the expert witnesses were very well prepared and ready to testify from memory, and I think that's hard to do. And you also all did a great job handling technical difficulties. The technical difficulties are extremely frustrating for attorneys right now who are doing a lot of trials on Zoom and on WebEx, and you all handled them without getting flustered, which is also hard to do. So thank you for your efforts there. I have individual feedback, and I don't want to take too much time because I know you guys have another round, I think, to get to. But I just wanted to say, I'll start with the prosecution. Leah, I thought you were great at being very calm. You were great at asking those leading questions on cross. I think with your opening, working a little bit more on telling a story and taking more time, it was a little bit too short. And I don't say that often about opening statements, but I think a little bit more detail there and telling a little bit more of a story would be helpful. And I think I had this feedback for several of you on cross. You were very calm, which is good, but working a little bit more emotion, a little bit more modulation of that emotion when you're asking something important, having it really feel like it's important, and the way that you're conveying it. And again, that's just something that the more and more you practice, you're going to have that skill down. Yashaswi, am I saying your name right?
Yeah, it's Yashaswi.
Yashaswi. I thought your questions on direct were really well structured. And I had this feedback for several of you working on kind of some headlining and looping so you can repeat some of what they just gave you in a question and make sure then that the jury is getting it and moving on to your next chapter, right? And now we're going to talk about, or now I'd like to ask you some questions about this, or let's talk about this next topic. I think that would help a little bit with the organization. I thought you really did a phenomenal job responding to objections and staying calm with that and knowing the law on objections. And you did a great job with trying the impeachment. Impeachment is one of those hard skills as well. And I think the piece that you were missing is maybe crediting that affidavit more. So talking about that affidavit and why it's important, and that they signed this affidavit under oath, and really missing that piece. But I think you got all of the other pieces of that impeachment. So that's, you were trying to do that. And that's, I think, the one piece that was missing. But that's a tough skill to get. And I really credit you for trying it and for doing such a great job on it. Stella, you have just a very steady presence. You did a really effective job objecting and responding to objections. I really liked your theme, payback, stabbed in the back. And I was so impressed with your rebuttal that you were able to take the theme of the defense and integrate that into your rebuttal. That's hard to do thinking on your feet, and you did a great job with that. Yasmin, I also, Yasmin and Erica, you carried through the same trilogy and your opening and your closing. I think that's a really effective way to do things. And my advice there is just, you have to kind of make it your own, and you have to do it slowly. So you have to say it, pause, say the next word, pause, right? You have to convey that emotion. If you're going to do that trilogy, just slow down a little bit. And I know it was hard because you guys got caught up with some timing things. And so then I think, Erica, you were really wanting to rush on closing because you were worried about running out of that time. But it's more effective to slow down a little bit with some of those things. And Yasmin, we all have had crosses or directs where we get flustered. Like, you can apologize once, but you don't need to keep apologizing. So that's my feedback to you, is just, I thought you did a great job on your opening, and just don't feel like you have to keep on apologizing. I think we often do that as women, and you don't need to do it over and over, and don't feel like you need to do that. Dustin, you were wearing a lot of hats and stayed calm the entire time doing the tech assistance, and also doing all of the different roles that you had. I think your attitude and your rhythm on cross was great. Just, you need to break it down and slow down just a little bit. Like, you asked a question about the affidavit process and that it's a 5-step process. You need to just break down those pieces just a little bit. Your objections were also very effective. And I think you just sometimes maybe went into a little bit too much detail about what the objection was. You can just state the objection and the rule, and then let the judge let you know if they need more feedback. Erica, your passion was really wonderful. And I thought you, again, did a really good job of carrying through the theory of the case. You don't have to show that another person did it. So that's my big feedback for closing. You just have to show that there's reasonable doubt that your client committed this murder. And so I think sometimes you were arguing so hard to say that the other person did it, that you took on too much of the burden from the prosecution. So I think reasonable doubt really needs to be more something that you're talking about more in your closing. But I thought you did a really effective job. All of you did great work, and I appreciate the chance to come and see you today.
Elizabeth?
Hi, I was so impressed with all of you. I am a litigation attorney, and I do business law. So I'm not in the courtroom very often, but all of what I do is to prepare for that trial and to make sure I'm setting everything up for this trial. So if you think about your packet that you receive, all of those documents, it takes time to take the affidavit and gather the evidence, take the photos. That's where I work more in civil law. But I was so impressed with your preparation and your execution. I have just a couple notes, and I'll keep it short and general to all of you. First, really good professionalism with the internet issues and technology. Always remain calm and helpful and positive. Never try to jump on someone. Nobody did here, but never try to take advantage if your opponent is having tech issues. Nobody did that, but that's how you want to do it, is stay on the up and up, because it can happen to you just as easily. So great job with that. Second, just echoing what's already been said, the hardest thing when you're eyes deep in a case is to remember that the people you're presenting to are hearing it for the first time. And so you have to go slow. In the openings, take some time when you introduce a new person, talk about the name and who they are, and make sure that don't be afraid of repeating yourself. And one specific for questioning for your directs and crosses for this, just so that the audience can make sure they're keeping up and understanding the most important parts, is to add chapter headings. And you can do this even if you want to look at your questions for the next round. And it looks like every time you kind of shift in topic to say something like, okay, well, let's talk more about the skid marks. I want to turn your attention to the cell phone records. And then you ask the questions. So it's just kind of like helping the audience go along with your thought process. Okay, we're turning to this now. Okay, now I'm ready. I'm in the frame of mind to hear about the skid marks. What are you going to say about the skid marks? And on cross, you can do this to your advantage. So you can say, okay, well, I want to talk about how, I mean, it's hard to come up with the exact way, but like, I want to talk about I don't know, if you're trying to turn people's attention to the bias, you know, I want to talk about how your friendship really was with this person and kind of insinuate it wasn't what you're saying, you know? And so you can kind of let the audience in on, hey, there's a little more to the story. Let's get to it now. And then the audience is going to have their ears perked to say like, okay, I'm listening for it not to be what they said it was, you know? Then the last thing I'll say is that as your, the strongest things you can do in mock trial to show off that you're like paying attention with things is to like steal things that have been said and then incorporate them. And so as you do that, make sure that you're not stealing stuff from the affidavit, because that may not have come out word for word in this trial. And so if you're going to cross and say, oh, they said this, you said this on your cross, or your opinion is this, make sure that as you're listening to the direct before your cross, you're listening to exactly what the witness says. And you can even jot down a phrase here and there to like beef up your cross and say, no, you said exactly this. And I saw that throughout, and it can be improved, but just something to think about. And you can do that on your closing as well, to use the theme and everything. So great job across the board. I hope you all, there's so many things to be learned from mock trial, even if you are not going into law. There's so much public speaking and logical thinking. And so I hope wherever you go, you have enjoyed this experience.
Thank you, everyone. And I think I have another jury waiting. So I need to say goodbye, and good luck to all of you. If you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out to any of us old gal lawyer people here, because we'd love to hear from you. Anyway, good night, goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.